Welcome to Through the Eye of an Entrepreneur, a signature show about entrepreneurship by CxO Global TV. CxO Global TV is a premier channel by CxO Global Forum. I am Naumeena Suhail, CEO of the design firm. I have today's episode is about HR and accounting. We have two seasoned entrepreneurs with us, Rukhsana Asghar, founder CEO of Fulcrum, and Nilofer Kazmi, founder and CEO, Noha Global. Let's hear from them. At the moment, Rukhsana Nilofer is just about to join us any moment. In the meantime, let's talk to Rukhsana and hear about her. So, Rukhsana, tell us about your company. How did you start it and all the stuff?
I've had a very interesting career. It's over 3 decades that I've been working. And I started off with Unilever way back in early 84. Then 7 years there, I moved to Citibank, was with them for another 12 years. Of that, 8 years, I was their director of HR, and then UBL after privatization. There, I was their SEVP global head of HR. And suddenly, I don't know, I just realized that I've been working very hard for all these organizations. And if I can work for them, I can surely work for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I got on the other side of the table. This is way back in 2005. And I started off from my dining table and then very quickly got it organized with an office and everything else. God's been very kind. We grew very fast and we rapidly expanded. We are a company now which is nearly 20 years old, and we bring all kinds of human resource interventions and solutions. Plus, we have also then recently diversified into digitization and IT, etc. But on the HR side, it's been fun. It's been there. I have about 20,000 employees outsourced to various organizations, and we have like over 350 clients. We work across 100 locations in Pakistan. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of diversity. And
Yeah.
although, when I started, I was not sure of the kind of span that I would be going into. Most people sort of considered me a banking specialist. But
Mm-hmm.
over the years, we have definitely diversified from the financial sector to the non-financial sector, which has been a lot of fun. And so that's what the company is about, and that's what we are doing in the company. Um, Basically, that's what I would like to say.
Great. So, Rukhsana, great. Thanks, Nilofer, for joining us. I'll talk to Rukhsana and then I'll come to you. So, Rukhsana, can you share the difference between young professionals looking for jobs nowadays and the people, young professionals who were looking for jobs 10, 15 years back? What is the difference you find it? Because I feel like the dynamic of the whole situation have changed.
Big difference, Nomina. Big difference. Basically, when we got into jobs, we were patient, we were ready to learn, we were always looking up to people to learn, and we sort of wanted to ride the tide to get where we did. Today,
Mm-hmm,
the youngsters want to get right to the top from day one. They want to do precisely what they want to do. They feel they
mm-hmm,
know it all, and they can probably, sort of even teach us a lot of stuff. And this is not just particular or specific to our country, but this is what's happening all over the world. And
mm-hmm,
in a way, it's great, but in a way, it definitely has its gaps, is what I can say. Because
mm-hmm,
sometimes you're so gung ho on what you're doing, you're not ready to look at things from a different perspective, and at times that could be very challenging for you in the longer run. I'm
mm-hmm.
sure you must have also marked a change in the market where the stability in jobs is no longer there. People keep hopping, jumping all over the place, whether it's for a better career, whether it's for a better pay package. But previously, when I was in Unilever and I decided to leave them after 7 years, everyone thought I had gone berserk because they said, "Why are you leaving such an institution? You are due for pension in 3 years' time." And I said, I don't really care about that at this point in time. But having said that, nowadays, 7 years is long. But at that
Yes.
time, people didn't leave organization for years and years and years.
Yes.
I could at least count over a few hundred, who had joined and were there for a good entire career of theirs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the difference I feel that we have in the younger generation these days. The other thing is, yes, they're far more IT savvy, and that's where the world is going. So at times it seems the right thing of what they're doing. A lot of youngsters are also not too keen on joining organizations. A lot of them want to do freelancing, which is another avenue, and a good
We
avenue.
will get into that avenue later on, the freelancing part.
Sure, 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 sure.
Yes,
But that
because वो
what
एक
what
लंबी
yeah,
कहानी है.
because that has opened a lot of avenues for women. So
Yes,
that in a
yes,
way is
yes,
great. Yeah.
yes. So let's get to Nilofer. So tell us about your company. How did you start on it, and share your about it, please.
Well, सबसे पहले तो Naumeena, thank you so much for having me here. Can you hear me well?
I can hear you well. Yes, somehow.
Sana ji, how are you doing? Nice to see you.
Thank you. How are you?
Thank you so much. Well, I would say my background is corporate, and I have a similar background, little bit similar to Rukhsana. I started with diplomatic missions and multinational companies, corporate world. But about 13, 14 years ago, I would always feel कि पाकिस्तान में जो वर्क स्पेसेस हैं या जो हमारी जो काम करने की जगह हैं उन पे सैनिटाइजेशन का और क्लीनिंग का इन चीज़ों का इतना ख्याल नहीं रखा जाता एंड वी डोंट हैव वेरी कंड्यूसिव work environment for people to come and work. And I used to travel a lot internationally also due to my work. And I would see the difference between our workspaces and our offices and corporate setup. And then we go to the private spaces. That gave me an idea that why don't I start a facility management business? Because it will serve two purposes. First purpose will be it will provide jobs to marginalized communities. Secondly, I'm a totally HR and operational person. That's my background also. That will give me an opportunity to hone my skills and actually create sanitized workspaces for people. So that's how NOHA was formed. I mean, it's the first of its kind, fully integrated facility management services company in which we manage payroll, HR, and we do complete facility management services, which includes आपकी cleaning हो गई, janitorial services हैं, third party workforce management है, हम beach cleaning करते हैं, we do electrical plumbing works. तो उसमें बड़ी interesting चीजें. I started it as a small project, but I never realized it will actually end up into a huge business portfolio. And I think I had those entrepreneurial germs in me, so that corporate to entrepreneurial journey actually materialized. And I think what I did is what I loved and I wanted to do. Never not do it again. If I want to do something in my life, I will actually always be a facility management and HR entrepreneur. This
Oh
is what
wow, right.
here.
Great. Nice to hear from you, Nilofer, about your journey. Can you tell us how many employees do you have right now? Are they all women or is it a mix? Something? How is it?
So
And what was?
we have an employee base of 450 plus at the we have made it that we will induce 30% women workforce. So we have 30% women. The key management positions are all women. Majority of them are women. And
Okay, that's nice.
have about 5% of transgenders and 5% of disabled and the special people with special needs. And we have
Okay,
about
great.
youth and men. और क्योंकि हमारा ज़्यादातर ब्लू कॉलर वर्कफोर्स है तो इसमें ये है कि इतनी एजुकेशन लेवल इन लोगों का नहीं होता और इसमें औरतें भी काम करती हैं मर्द भी काम करते हैं और हम लोग एक अपॉर्चुनिटी देते हैं सबको हमारे पास बिल्कुल रॉ वर्कफोर्स आती है उनको हम लोग 1 से 2 हफ्ते के अंदर बेसिक इक्विपमेंट मतलब ट्रेनिंग देते हैं इक्विपमेंट की यूट्यूब वीडियोज़ के साथ देन वी आर ऑल्सो दी ओनली पाकिस्तानी कंपनी registered with International Facility Management Association and I,
Wow,
which is the largest body for janitorial services all across the world. तो हमने उनके साथ
awesome.
पहले पाकिस्तान में कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं था एंड ऑनेस्टली मैंने भी गूगल पे बैठ के सर्च किया लाइक एनी अदर एंटरप्रेन्योर और सोलोप्रेन्योर कि ये कहाँ ऐसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है जहाँ से मैं लोगों को ट्रेनिंग दूँ, बिकॉज वी हैड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स टू वर्क विद MNCs एंड MNCs हैव अ फैसिलिटी मैनेजमेंट पोर्टफोलियो. तो वो कहते हैं कि जी आपकी कॉन्ट्रैक्चुअल ऑब्लिगेशन में है कि आपकी वर्कफोर्स ट्रेंड होनी चाहिए. दैट्स हाउ आई थिंक एवरीथिंग हैपेंड फॉर अ रीजन एंड इट केम टू अ पॉइंट where we became from an operational company to a very service oriented organization. So we are totally customer service oriented organization right now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, awesome, great. अच्छा, ये मुझे बताएं, लेट्स गो टू रुखसाना. रुखसाना, थोड़ा सा हम आजकल जो है कंपनीज को, दे आर हैविंग, नाउडेज कंपनीज आर हैविंग हार्ड टाइम टू फाइंड द क्वालिफाइड रिसोर्स एंड retaining them. What is your intake on it? And please share some tips, if possible, some examples how to retain employees. Because ये आजकल बड़ी कंपनीज है, छोटी कंपनीज का है. बड़ी कंपनीज तो मेरे ख्याल में फिर भी कम है, because they are giving a lot of benefits to those companies, but medium sized companies are really
Right.
having a hard time with that.
नमीना,
So,
एक तरीका जिस तरह मैं भी कह रही थी आपसे कि बहुत सारी अब आपको स्किल्स मिल जाती हैं जो ज़रूरी नहीं है कि आपकी साइट पे एज एन एम्प्लॉय हो. You can get them as a consultant, as a part time or whatever, which again is great because a lot of people are looking for that kind of work. Similarly, देखो पहले जैसे होता था, people would invest heavily in the management trainee programs. They would invest heavily in the graduates that would come out from various universities. अब वो चीज काफी, मैंने देखा, काफी कम भी हो गई है. एक तो उसको हमें दोबारा से चैनलाइज करने की जरूरत है. दूसरी ये है कि इनको मोटिवेटेड रखने के लिए आई थिंक एक कम्युनिकेशन की स्ट्रैटेजी बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग आपकी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में होनी चाहिए. In the sense that, people should be able to talk wherever they feel they are not getting something, or they're not feeling up to the mark. They should be able to come and talk about it to at least certain people which you may assign in the organization, so that they're heard and they're taken care of. फिर हमारा काफी फोकस नॉन फाइनेंशियल रिवॉर्ड्स पर से भी हट गया है, which again I think is something which is extremely important. Some recognition of people in front of their teams or in front of their peers, etc., is a great motivation. And then the kind of environment that is being provided by various organizations. आपको याद होगा एक जमाने में बड़ा खुला हाथ होता था कंपनीज का, लोगों की मौजें लगी होती थी. अब वो सारी जो फैसिलिटीज थी खासी हद तक कम हो गई हैं या मोनेटाइज हो गई हैं. और इसीलिए we need to come up with ways of keeping our people engaged, of keeping our people motivated. And for that, it is very important to have a communication strategy within your organization.
And I think so आजकल के जो बच्चों को सिर्फ वही काम नहीं करना है, they want to do multiple things, they want to learn multiple things, they just don't want to do one single thing continuously.
Yeah, they can't be monotonously doing just one thing. You're absolutely right about that.
उसमें भी वो बोर हो जाते हैं फिर.
जल्दी बोर हो जाते हैं. जी,
सही से. अच्छा, मुझे ये बताएं कि हमारे यहाँ पर एक फ्रीलांसिंग का एक सेगमेंट है आईटी में, जो स्पेशली आईटी में तो मैंने देखा फ्रीलांसिंग इज वेरी हाई. और हम जैसे आईटी कंपनीज हैं उनको आज से बड़े मुश्किल से रिसोर्सेज मिल रही हैं, और जो मिलती हैं वो भी वे हाई मिलती हैं, एंड दे आर नॉट गिविंग द 100% ड्यूरिंग दैट टाइम, बिकॉज और उनको मैनेज करना इज अ बिग प्रॉब्लम. What, since you are into hiring segment and people ask you to find people, how difficult this task is nowadays for you?
This task on the IT side is very, very difficult. I completely agree with you, because even someone with, say, a year's experience could ask you for the moon and the stars in the sky, and it depends on what skills that particular individual is bringing to the table. So yes, it is becoming very difficult to first come up with good resources, क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ कोई ऐसे ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस मुझे नहीं लगता है जो हार्ड कोर आईटी के लोग प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं. और जो हैं वो फिर फ्रीलांसिंग इसलिए प्रेफर करते हैं कि उनके ऑप्शन ज़्यादा होते हैं, उनको फ्लेक्सिबल टाइमिंग्स मिलते हैं, वो अपनी मर्जी से काम करते हैं, डिलीवर करते हैं. दे नो देयर डेडलाइन, सो दे कैन वर्क फ्लेक्सिबली विद इन दोज आवर्स. But it is becoming imperatively important for our institutions to come up with better IT qualifications and and graduates, who can kind of manage what the requirements are for this era and going forward. So आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा, यहाँ ये हाल है कि आप एक आईटी के बंदे को ऑफर देके कंपनी तक जाते हैं, जब तक आप वापस आते हैं वो कहीं और ऑफर लेकर जा चुका होता है.
Oh
तो
wow, that's
बेहतर हो गया है, अब
interesting.
तो कुछ कोविड की वजह से ये बेहतर हो गया है कि वो बाहर नहीं जा चुका है. Otherwise, half the flights would be outside of the country, which was a great, great challenge.
Wow, great. So let's come to Nilofer. We create a workplace experience that employees enjoy. This is your slogan, which I have read it on your website. So please share how you're achieving this, because I know the kind of workforce you are. So उनको entertain करना, उनको focus रखना, उनको करना. I know you're training it, but एक process है. So how you are doing it?
We create a workspace experience for the employees to enjoy, not just locally, but it is also internationally.
Yes.
Naumeena, a little bit of a background that when we do staffing, we also provide blue collar workforce to organizations in Pakistan, and I also have a medical care staffing company in Houston, and so we also bring medical staff from Pakistan, Philippines, and other parts of the world who are placed in these old age homes and hospitals and caregiving agencies. So I do get to meet staff from all over the world and their different mindsets and their different perceptions. So when it comes to workforce in Pakistan, आप nurses की बात करते हैं तो हमारी nurses इतनी talented हैं, या अगर आप workforce की बात करते हैं आपके जेनिटोरियल स्टाफ है या फ्रंट डेस्क मैनेजर्स हैं या कॉन्सियर्ज है या गेस्ट होटल मैनेजमेंट सर्विसेज के लोग हैं. वी हैव द मोस्ट अमेजिंग एंड नॉलेजेबल वर्कफोर्स. वी आर सो स्मार्ट एंड वी आर सो इंटेलिजेंट, बट द प्रॉब्लम इज our employers do not know how to get the best out of them. So we do not provide them with the best career, क्योंकि हम लोग mid tier and upper level management positions को तो बहुत pamper करते हैं, but when it comes to that cadre where it is like support staff जिनको हम कहेंगे, I would never call them anything but support staff. तो support staff जिनकी वजह से ये सारा system चलता है, हम उनकी take care नहीं करते उस perspective से. So having said that, I think what we have done is, what we have tried to do is, sorry for the noise because we have kids running around over here.
No worries.
Morning in Houston and you guys are in Pakistan right now. तो हम लोग जो कर रहे हैं, we are making sure कि हमारी जो workforce है उनको कहीं पे भी negligence feel ना हो, उनको best salary packages मिले which are better than the market. At the same time उनको proper food and eating facilities provide की जाएं, उनके lunch hours हों, क्योंकि इनके लिए बहुत जरूरी है कि आप इनको एक प्रॉपर जगह दीजिए. एंड वी हैड टू फेस मेजर चैलेंजेस एट मेनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, क्योंकि हमारा थर्ड पार्टी वर्क स्टाफ था, वो कहते थे आपके ड्राइवर्स लंच करने के लिए लंच रूम में आ गए तो हमारे जो सीनियर मैनेजमेंट है वो कहाँ जाएगी. तो यू नो माय कॉन्सेप्ट वाज दे आर ऑल ह्यूमन बीइंग्स एट द एंड ऑफ द डे, सो एवरीबॉडी हैज टू गेट द बेस्ट ऑफ द बेस्ट. So we make sure I tell you one thing, there are certain organizations who are really good in this and they make sure कि सारे employees को एक ही तरह treat किया जाए. We have extra, एक तो गवर्नमेंट रेगुलेशंस हैं जो आपने बेनिफिट्स मीट करने होते हैं, लाइक सोशल सिक्योरिटी एंड EOBI, लेकिन हमारे जो सोशल सिक्योरिटी के अस्पतालों का हाल है, वो लोग 3-3 दिन इंतजार करते रहते हैं टू गेट टू द डॉक्टर. सो हमने उनको एडिशनल मेडिकल पैकेजेस दिए हुए, इंश्योरेंसेस दी हुई हैं, सो दैट दीज they feel privileged and they feel honored and they enjoy coming back to work.
Nice.
We have residential towers in Karachi and Islamabad. अब रेजिडेंशियल ईद के दिन है, कुर्बानियां हो रही हैं, वो सारा गंद साफ करना है, वो कौन साफ करता है? सपोर्ट स्टाफ साफ करता है.
Of course.
तो उन लोगों को उस वक्त घर से बुलाना is a challenge, so we have to give extra perks to them. So we give monetary bonuses, but we also give recognition rewards. We have a recognition reward.
That's what Rukhsana spoke about.
Exactly what Rukhsana said. I'm so enjoying it with Rukhsana right now. I think, Rukhsana, I need to have a session with you after this separately.
Definitely, I would like to be part of it so I can learn some more from you.
Because
Okay, so
force between us. So this is what it is, Ji.
So we have spoken about. So let's get back to. मुझे ये बताएं कि आप Nilofer, when you are interviewing a person who comes on board like a support staff, as a support staff too, they don't know A and B. So what kind of qualities do you look into it when you're hiring them?
सो देखिए, एनी इंटरव्यू, ये मैंने खुद चीज बहुत बाद में सीखी लाइफ में विद एक्सपीरियंस. इट्स 90% एटीट्यूड एंड इट्स 10% योर क्वालिफिकेशन. If you have the positive attitude and behavior, you can adjust anywhere in the world in whatever you do. Technical skills से जो train करना है वो हमारा काम है, पढ़ाना हमारा
Right.
काम, पढ़ाना हमारा काम है. पर्सनालिटी आपकी पॉजिटिव होनी चाहिए, आपका एटीट्यूड पॉजिटिव होना चाहिए. मेरे पास ऐसे भी यूथ आती है, ऐसे भी लोग आए हैं, क्योंकि कुछ ऐसे एरियाज हैं माइनॉरिटी के जहाँ पे हमारे क्लाइंट्स थे और वहाँ पे हमें कोई वर्क फोर्स नहीं मिल रही थी. तो यूथ वाज ड्रग एडिक्ट्स, women were
Wow.
involved in certain activities. So हमने उन लोगों को क्लीन अप किया. उनके ड्रग टेस्टिंग होती है हर 6 महीने पे, भी मेक श्योर उनकी टीबी टेस्टिंग हो, सब चीजें हो. तो उनको क्लीन अप करना, उनको सिखाना कि आपने परफॉर्म कैसे करना है, स्टैंडर्ड ऑपरेटिंग प्रोसीजर्स के, सैनिटोरियल के, क्लीनिंग के, बिल्डिंग मेंटेनेंस के, शीशे कैसे साफ करने हैं, अपने सपोर्ट सीनियर स्टाफ को कैसे वेलकम करना है, ग्रीट, हाउ डू यू हैव टू मेंटेन योर पर्सनल हाइजीन. दैट इज आवर जॉब. But for them, they just have to come with a very positive attitude that they're going to be honest, committed, dedicated, and come up with a commitment to work. That's all what we need.
Awesome. That's a very interesting thing because मैंने भी देखा, I think so the attitude, the positivity which comes from you when you go for an interview makes a huge difference. And I'm sure Rukhsana knows more than I do in this area. Achha, Rukhsana, now for you, how important it is for new and in-field professionals to keep taking training and development courses? Because a lot of people say, यार पढ़ाई कर ली बस वो उसी पर करें. बाज कंपनीज में नहीं ट्रेनिंग हो रही है, बाज में होती है. As we said that every company can't afford to train their employees. वो भी एक कहानी है. तो how, what do you say, what is your insight on
एक
this?
एक अच्छा ट्रेंड मैंने देखा है यंगस्टर्स में कि दे आर नॉट वेटिंग फॉर द कंपनीज टू ट्रेन देम.
Okay,
A lot of
that's
people
nice.
a lot of people are spending their own money and getting better certifications, qualifications and training, because you can't leave your career to the company alone. अब इतना कंपेटिटिव हो गया है कि बहुत जरूरी है कि लोग अपने आप को खुद भी डेवलप करें. आप बैठ के इंतजार नहीं कर सकते हो कि जब कंपनी में आपकी बारी आएगी तो आपको भेज के कुछ ना कुछ कराया जाएगा. Those days are really beyond us. So a lot of
सही.
people I've seen at all levels are doing this. एंड जो लोग हमारी लोकल यूनिवर्सिटी से निकल के आते हैं, मेरा ख्याल है वो डिग्री तो ले लेते हैं नोमिना, मगर वो कितने एम्प्लॉयबल होते हैं वो एक बहुत बड़ा क्वेश्चन मार्क बनता जा रहा है. बिकॉज अनफॉर्चुनेटली हमारा करिकुलम, हमारा जो हिसाब किताब है, वी डू लैग लाइक रियली बिहाइंड.
Exactly.
तो
I
हमारे
agree with you
ज्यादा
on this.
ज्यादा थ्योरी है, कम प्रैक्टिकल है. कितनी जगहों पर अब जाके उन्होंने लोगों को सीवी बनाना सिखाया है, बट हाफ द टाइम जब वो इंटरव्यूज के लिए आते हैं उनको नहीं एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे होते हैं कि किस तरह के सवाल होंगे, क्या होगा क्या नहीं होगा, ड्रेसअप कैसा होगा. क्योंकि अभी भी जब तुम कॉर्पोरेट वर्ल्ड में जाते हो ना, तो तुम्हारा एक अटायर मैटर करता है, तुम्हारी नीटनेस, क्लेनलीनेस. जैसे अभी नीलोफर कह रही थी कि ये सारी चीजें बहुत मैटर करती हैं. कुछ लोगों को तो आप उस लेवल पर सिखा लेते हो, बट आप देखो आपकी जो यंगर जनरेशन है, they hardly care. I mean, suit has become extinct, or even a shirt with a tie has become extinct. तो पहले अगर कोई ऐसा आता था आप घर भेज देते थे उसको, अब आपके पास choice नहीं है. So the times have really changed, and though people have changed, ठीक है, आपको हर वक्त टाई और सूट की जरूरत नहीं है, but at least hygiene, cleanliness, neat hair. Now this also has become a challenge.
Manicure, pedicure.
Yeah, because I mean, in my this thing life, I heard something like out of the bed look. Now I don't know what is that out of the bed look and how much it does for someone to get into a profession or into an organization. But that's the kind of things the youngsters are coming up with. So I do feel that yes, there are people who understand that they can't endlessly wait. और मेरे ख्याल में ये प्रैक्टिकल साइड बहुत ज़रूरी है ज़िंदगी में. और मेरा ख्याल है नीलोफर तो खुद एक्सपीरियंस रोज़ भी करती होंगी कि ये प्रैक्टिकल चीज़ें सिखाना, जितना भी पॉजिटिव एटीट्यूड हो, एट द फ्रंट डेस्क, एट अदर एरियाज, इट्स नॉट ईजी. It's not easy because half the time, you need to ensure your people are mentally and physically with you.
Absolutely.
ये भी अब एक चैलेंज होता जा रहा है.
वो एक yes, definitely. Rukhsana, I'll come back to you again. When you are taking an interview, जैसे आप लोग भी एक before you present someone to a company, आप भी एक interview session करते हैं with the people. So how आपका because Nilofer का तो workforce support team is total different. आप जो है you usually deal with the management type और जरा senior management level पर.
Yeah.
So when you are taking the interviews, how you are finding which one is the right candidate, which is not? What is your criteria about these things? And what are
Nilüfer,
the things which people are doing wrong where they, fail in their interviews?
ओके, एक तो ये है दैट पीपल हैव टू बी वेरी वेरी रियलिस्टिक. एक आपको जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन कंपनी देती है तो आप कहते हो क्वालिफिकेशंस और बाकी चीजें एज पर दैट जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन होनी चाहिए. फिर यू एक्चुअली ट्राई टू फाइंड दैट with the resume what the person is saying it is, because a number of times when you probe further you find out कि यार वो कह तो रहा है कि दुनिया उसने लिखी हुई अपने सीवी पे चेंज मैनेजमेंट, परफॉर्मेंस मैनेजमेंट, एम्प्लॉय चैंपियन, मगर जब आप उससे सवाल पूछते हो कि यार इसमें तुमने क्या काम किया, वो ब्लैंक है आगे से. He doesn't know or she doesn't know what it is. So that's where you need to be very particular. IT के अंदर तो खास करके जो जितने कोर्सेज उसने लिखे हैं उनमें से कितना प्रैक्टिस किया हुआ है और कितने किस हद तक किए हुए हैं. बिकॉज आप देखेंगे आजकल सीरीज का खासी डिसेप्टिव आ रही है कंपेयर टू व्हाट दे यूज्ड टू बी प्रीवियसली, बिकॉज पीपल डू वांट अ जॉब, सो समटाइम्स there are many things that may show differently on a CV. Similarly, जो आपने सवाल किया कि what should you look at when you're looking at people, sometimes you have to give them the reality check. Some people come in asking for the moon and the sun, and then you tell them, देखो भाई, this is where you are, this is where you will be going, and this is what you should expect, because you can't expect to just jump a job and get a 50% raise. It doesn't happen that way. Even अब हर एम्प्लॉय, जैसे आपसे मैं थोड़ी देर पहले बात करी थी, you have to look at your budget, you have to look at what you have, how well you can distribute that, what does it mean for the next year, what does it mean for this year. So you can't just come and ask for unrealistic emoluments, and then you tell them, अच्छा what's the reason, आप किस बेस पे ये मांग रहे हैं, क्या लॉजिक है इसके पीछे. तो you have to give them reality checks, because ये अगर आप नहीं करोगे तो वो तो फिर जाके क्लाइंट से पता नहीं किस तरह की बातचीत करेंगे ना. और मुझे जो एक आजकल सीरियस मसला आ रहा है वो लोगों की सीरियसनेस पे आ रहा है. आपके पास आएंगे, इंटरव्यू देंगे, चले जाएंगे कह के कि हाँ हम जाना चाहते हैं, और जब आप उनको वहां भेजेंगे तो वो वहां नहीं आएंगे.
प्रोफेशनलिज्म ये बहुत लोगों का साथ होता है.
Which is extremely embarrassing. I mean, you feel like ethics doesn't exist any longer. If you don't want to go, you just state it. यार नहीं, doesn't make sense. I would not like to.
किसी ने आपके बाद बंदूक तो नहीं टांगी हुई कि भाई आपको जाना ही जाना है, but at least make it, keep it professional. Yeah. Exactly.
And then at times they take offer, you wait for a month, and so these are the things that one has to kind of see how serious the candidate is or isn't.
अच्छा, let's go to Nilofer. Nilofer, आप मुझे बताएं, you are running a business in PK and USA both. What difference you find in workforce quality? दोनों में क्या difference you find it when you are hiring people and overall attitude?
I think it looks like you read my mind, Naumeena, because जब रुखसाना जो बातें कर रही थी तो मैं उनको validate कर रही थी, और मैं लेकिन उसमें थोड़े mid-tier work है. एंड जब मैं यूएस में करती हूँ तो यहाँ पे भी हमारे पास नर्सिंग केयर एंड हेल्थ केयर की स्टाफ है. आई फील कि पाकिस्तान में जो हमारा जो एजुकेशन सिस्टम है बड़ा मेथोडिकल एंड बड़ा बिब्लिकल है, और हमें ग्रेजुएटेड लर्निंग के बारे में नहीं सिखाया जाता कि जब आप एक यू स्टार्ट एज एन इंटर्नी, देन यू बिकम अ ट्रेनी, मैनेजमेंट to the level of an officer, then a manager, then manager. You want to first of all jump that. Secondly, we have a lot of millennials now around us, and all the world have a very different. They're like, "Mama, you don't know." Like my daughter would tell me, "Mama, you don't know anything."
Same here.
लोग आते हैं कहते हैं इनको क्या पता, मैम इज लाइक इन हर 40s, व्हाट डज शी नो, वी आर द यंग, उनकी रिटेंशन है। लेकिन वो जाहिर है हमारे वहाँ क्या कहना चाहिए, पाकिस्तान में वर्क कंड्यूसिव एनवायरनमेंट नहीं है लोगों को। ये हमारे जो यूथ है उनको कॉलेजेस यूनिवर्सिटीज में ही ग्रेजुएटेड लर्निंग या स्टूडेंट काउंसलिंग उसी स्टेज पे स्टार्ट हो जानी चाहिए। हाउ टू मेक योर रेज्यूमे, what are your basic pillars of strength, your commitment, your honesty, your tactful decision making, your entrepreneurial skills, कुछ भी नहीं बताया जाता। You know, I'll tell you something very interesting. Somebody I know very well, he was heading facility management division for World Bank, and then he decided to stick a Nilofer, I want to do something for Pakistan. He moved from that job and opened up a company called Shaping Futures. So, what is the concept? Tehseen ne kaha that he had opportunity to work in Middle East and this and that. Usne kaha, I want to shape the future of my youth.
Beautiful.
And programs and we joined hands together. So I engaged him for my workforce also. लेकिन जो concept है shaping future of the youth, कि आपके youth को ये पता होना चाहिए कि उन्होंने graduated learning क्या है, how to respect elders, how to make it a learning curve. Like I remember when I was an internee and I was in one of the telecoms, my job was to make tea for everyone. So,
yes. या तो जॉब वो होती थी या वो आप उसमें फोटो कॉपी पर खड़े हुए होते थे।
और टाइपिंग आपको लंबी लिस्टें दे दी जाती थी कि टाइप करें। अब तो जमाने आप आजकल के बच्चों को देखे एक लिस्ट कि टाइप कर दो। वेरी फ्यू people you find dedicated and committed, they want to take a shortcut. और पाकिस्तान यूएस में भी ऐसा है, I tell you, यहाँ पे भी कमिटमेंट के इश्यूज है because they want more in very less time. However, अगर अब मैं सपोर्ट स्टाफ की बात करूं, उनकी नीड्स कुछ और है, उनकी जरूरत पैसा है, उनकी जरूरत है इकोनॉमिकली अपनी फैमिलीज को अपलिफ्ट करना, तो वो लोग थोड़े अंडरस्टैंडिंग है। लेकिन उनका प्रॉब्लम ये है कि जब वो बाहर के मुल्कों में काम करने जाते हैं, जो हमारी वर्कफोर्स है, तो हमारा जो लैंग्वेज बैरियर है वो एक थोड़ा इशू है, और दूसरा हमारे कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर नहीं है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, हमारी नर्सेज जब बाहर के हॉस्पिटल्स में फॉर्म करने जाती हैं तो बेड साइड मैनर्स, उनकी बिहेवियर विद द पेशेंट, उसके बाद उनकी पेशेंट की फैमिली के साथ बिहेवियर, they are technically very sound. Our doctors and engineers and IT people are known all over the world that they are.
Yes.
But when it comes to your basic background, bedside manners and professionalism, वहाँ पे वो मार खा जाते हैं। तो मुझे preference
I agree with you, both of you on this case. Yes, और दूसरा ये क्या होता है कि छोटी-छोटी चीजें, और but I also say that this doesn't come in the middle level या आप जब कॉलेज या यूनिवर्सिटी में। I think so this should start from your basics. आप like where your primary education is there. हमारा main problem जो I always find it's not relevant to it, but I always find is that कि हमारी जो primary teachers है ना, when a child asks question, वो फौरन उसको चुप करा देता है। हमने बचपन से ही चुप करा दिया बच्चे को, आपने उसे सवाल ही नहीं पूछने दिया, और जो सवाल ज्यादा बच्चा पूछे तो उसको वो उसकी नेगेटिव लिस्ट में चला जाता है, तो वो आप ग्रो ही नहीं होता, आपके जहन में क्वेश्चंस ही नहीं आते, यू आर नॉट आस्क्ड क्वेश्चनेबल, तो कोई क्वेश्चन ही नहीं करता है, पूरी हम तरह से कर रहे हैं। एनीवे, लेट्स नॉट गो टू इन दैट डायरेक्शन। अच्छा, अब मुझे ये बताएं Nilofer, you are using since you have a huge workforce, so what kind of an accounting management system are you using, and how your cash flow is working, because cash flow is always a challenge for companies.
Wow, both things are right. So we have ERP automated setup. We started, but then of course accounting mein, so we took accounting softwares which were online available, and then eventually we realized that we need to have complete ERP automation, because integrated facility management में customer care, HR, inventory management software, cash account, cash book management, accounting, these are all interrelated to each other. So we had to install ERP, and a couple of decided to go for complete ERP automation. We also have to make sure that when our workforce is at the job site, so we use geofencing for the presence of the job, and then biometrics, because उसके बगैर तो presence हो ही नहीं सकती। अंगूठा तो आपको देगा, आपका employee card तो कोई भी sign in कर देगा।
Exactly.
Having a payroll.
So biometric is the way to keep things transparent.
Because we cannot charge a client if our employee is not there on site. So we
Exactly,
have on a
exactly.
biometric attendance system, and it is all linked to, of course, our accounting software, because only then the invoice is created and our customers should know. We have to
Mm-hmm.
provide a backup of the workforce. That is why Noha is exceptional from the other companies, because it is mandatory in our environment कि अगर एक workforce site पे नहीं है तो we have to make sure that the backup is there, and this is where we get the niche market.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a very good, but it's always a challenge to have a backup. It's like आपके पास workforce की भी inventory है. It's sort of like that.
Actually, entry है हमारी workforce है. Let me put it like that. That's what we use. And I think what was the second question you asked about cash management? We made,
Yes, cash flow.
I actually started, Rukhsana, I started this business with only 30,000 rupees out of my salary. And I didn't have cash when I started it, but I think I was, again, entrepreneurial brain was there. And when we pitched in and I submitted my first bid, I asked my client that we need work advance to manage the payroll for the 6 months. That was the first kitty that we got. But eventually then I learned the tricks of the trade, because मुझे तो banking systems का कुछ भी नहीं पता था about 13 years ago. आज President of Islamabad Women Chamber of Commerce, और वो अक्सर खवातीन आती हैं, तो मैं सबसे पहले कहती हूँ कि पहले बैंकिंग सिस्टम सीखो, पहले कोलैटरल्स के साथ बैंक गारंटीज मटीरियलाइज करानी है, बिकॉज बैंक गारंटीज के बगैर आपका काम नहीं चलता व्हेन यू कम फॉर दीस बिगर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स. तो eventually I started learning, and I didn't want to take any support from my family. मेरे पास कोई ऐसे प्राइवेट प्लॉट्स या कोई एसेट से मैं कोई लोन्स लेती या कुछ करती. तो आई थिंक बस वो सब कुछ जो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स आते थे उसी में से पैसे सेव कर करके then got a little bit of a property, and then got collateral bank loans. And then, to be honest, my biggest help, because I came to a point of stagnancy where a couple of years ago I didn't have money to buy equipment, and we had to buy big road sweepers and वो क्या कहते हैं, वो जो एयरपोर्ट्स पे आप देखते हैं जेनेटोरियल की जो बड़ी वो जो व्हीकल्स होती हैं, वो one ride on sweeper जो है, that costs about 1.5 million rupees, and it's not easy for one individual to buy it, a company to buy it. So then we participated in Karandas Women Entrepreneur 4 years ago, and I won the challenge, and they became our private equity partners. And
awesome.
We got private equity loan from them. And nowadays there are so many different ways and mediums of doing it. There are VC firms out there all over the world who want to invest in Pakistan. Pakistan is the market right now. So I feel, देखिए, कैश मैनेजमेंट जो है वो आपके अपने हाथ में, how good your books are, how good your P&L of accounts is, and how you manage it. बाकी ये है कि it's a smart way of doing things, and then Allah is very kind and make sure that you find your own way to do it.
Great. Acha, we are already out of time. Let's try to conclude with a few questions. ये मुझे बताएं, share some 1 or 2, 3 important lessons or insights you have learned during your journey, and something and advice you can want to give it to our startups. So, Rukhsana, you want to start with this point?
Yeah, sure. I think startups का आपने बहुत अच्छा सवाल किया, नोमेना. I think the one thing that is happening is that startups are coming. अब तो फंडिंग भी बड़े मजे से मिल रही है, मगर जो एक स्ट्रक्चर होना चाहिए, जो एक ह्यूमन रिसोर्स की इंपॉर्टेंस होना चाहिए, वो मुझे मिसिंग लगती है, बहुत मिसिंग लगती है. इट्स नॉट दैट यू कांट गेट द ह्यूमन रिसोर्स, बट मैनेजिंग इट, कीपिंग अ ट्रैक ऑफ इट, ensuring that what's coming in is going out kind of thing, वो हमारी एक बहुत बड़ी इशू इस वक्त बनी हुई है. हम देख रहे हैं कंपनीज आ रही हैं, कंपनीज चली भी जा रही हैं, they come but they can't kind of sustain themselves. So there are these youngsters who are doing a phenomenally amazing job, but I would suggest that they need to keep a finger on different tabs. It's not just getting the business in, but it is getting the right resources, retaining those resources for the longer run. Because अगर आपकी resources आ रही है और जा रही है ना, आपके बेपनाह पैसे खर्च हो रहे हैं जिसका आप realize नहीं करते हो आज. So I would definitely say that this is something that people should put a lot of emphasis in, the right kind of HR policies, the right kind of workforce, and the management behind it. That's an
Great.
advice I would like to give.
Okay, great. And Nilofer, what is your insight, advice you want to share with the startups or the upcoming business or overall?
Domina, I have been coaching and mentoring startups at the platform of national sector in Pakistan, and also
Mhm.
I'm at Cultivate Advisors here in USA, where my job is to help small medium businesses in USA. So I meet entrepreneurs from US and Pakistan both. Uh,
Mhm.
what I learned over the past couple of years and what I learned in US as a business coach, uh, what I learned in Pakistan is that basically you have three basic, very strong pillars. Number one is your vision. You need to know what is your path, where you're going in the next 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Where do you see yourself? The second thing is your
Mhm.
financial pillar, and the third thing is the in-depth knowledge of the business you are in. You have to learn. If you don't know the trick of the trade, there's no harm getting into it and learning, because you can't sell somebody else's, you know, mindset. So these things are very important. And then I think there are eight major factors, but I will not name all of them. But you need to be tactfully very honest. I say that. You have to be relationship smart, that you know how you're going to manage your relationship. You again vision, and then also I would say that you have to be very, very strong when it comes to your commitment. You should not give up, and don't lose your hope in this well, because it could be a lot of up and down.
Okay, okay, great. Thank you, Rukhsana Asghar and Nilofer Khan, for joining us today. We have to, sadly, but we have to close this session. I had a really good time and I was really looking forward to meeting both of you and sharing all these my questions with you. And really thank you, audience, for watching us. Do sign up with the CXO Global TV and join us again next week, next Tuesday, 7 p.m. with another episode on entrepreneurship journey.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Naumeena. Have a
Rukhsana,
good
and take care. Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz.
night.
Sana, our coffee is due to all three of us.